Awesome. All right, I'm Paige. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an addict. When it's an all-inclusive thing, I'm like, who am I? What am I? I'm a lot. Listen, that's what I am. And so, yeah, I was asked if I could speak on the ninth step, and that is like truly a privilege because here's my experience. You guys can let me know if it's yours. That when I first came into the rooms, whatever 12-step fellowship brings you to this one, I would do this thing, and it is called auditing the steps. Now, I want to be very clear. It is very different than actually taking the steps. The actions of the steps is outlined in the big book, but it's also very different than like reading the steps, than talking about the steps, than pontificating about how the steps could possibly apply to me or not. What auditing the steps looks like was like I look at them on the wall on the Zoom screen, and I'm like, that one, some of that one, not that one. Oh, goodness gracious, never with that one. And the ninth step, that's one of those ones where I'm like, no, thank you. Does not apply to me. Absolutely not. So, and let's be real. Like when we talk about step 9, we know that what are we doing? We're facing the harms that we've caused others. And that's an area where man, we don't want to do it. Like, we don't want to do it. It's like the ninth step is really like ego deflation at depth. And I don't know about you. I did not want my ego to be deflated. That does not seem like a joyous process. I would like us to pump that right up, you know? And so the reason I'm talking about this is because oftentimes the ninth step is the step that we're all the most afraid of. Now, we're not going to cop to that. And we're like, no. I'm not afraid of step 9. But, oh, goodness gracious, I've got to read the soup labels and get rid of expired soup all of a sudden. And, there's some leaves in the gutters that clearly need my attention. You don't understand. It's urgent. Oh, and I can't meet you, Paige, to do some ninth step work. It's Arbor Day. And don't you know the importance of Arbor Day? Where trees and stuff. I'm too busy. But the truth is we're just afraid. And here's my experience. I'm not going to tell you why you're afraid. I'm going to share with you why I've been afraid. And the reason I was afraid of the ninth step is because what I found is my experience firsthand, but my experience working with others is that I am driven by two main fears, a fear of rejection and a fear of abandonment. And I'm afraid that if I face the things that I've done, you're going to reject me and that you're going to abandon me. And those fears are driven by some other fears, which is annoying. It's a whole lot of fear inventory I've had to put pen to paper on. Some of y'all know. It's driven by the fear that at the core of who I am is not enough. And the core of who I am is not enough, and you all see it. So I am terribly, terribly afraid of the ninth step. And here's the thing. A lot of people... we just want to avoid it. And we do this thing where we make a couple easy peasy lemon squeezy ones. Not you guys, but people out where I live will do a couple easy peasy lemon squeezy. Whew, that's all done. And then we sit and we avoid. But here's my experience. My experience is I cannot stay well on the actions that I do not take. And when we talk about the first step is a deep and profound experience that I will drink again, that I will use again, that I will relapse. By the way, I want you to know that I am going on a tangent I didn't expect to go on. So I'm as surprised as all of you as the direction this talk is going. Whee! So you see, step 1. Step 1 comprises 2 main points. The first main point of my first step is that I have the allergy of the body. That once I start to drink, or once I start to use, or once I start whatever brings you to this like all-inclusive meeting, once I start that I cannot stop. That once I start, there is something inside of me that pulls me to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And the more that I drink, the more that I use, the louder that more gets, and I can't control it. And I drink or use or whatever beyond lines in the sand that I said I would never cross. Does that sound familiar? And if I've got the allergy, what that means is that there will never be a time when I can ever safely drink or use or engage in whatever addictive behavior brings you to this meeting ever again. But you see, I have another symptom, and that other symptom is the obsession of the mind. And the obsession of the mind is the thought that I have once I am sober that tells me this time will be different. Nobody'll ever know. I just got to get it out of my system. You know, my problem was alcohol, but I can smoke crack like a lady. Pinkies up, y'all. Pinkies up. Or my problem is crack, but I can drink like a lady. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have that thought that takes me back again and again and again to that first drink, that first drug, that first hit, that first hoot. And you see, my step one experience is not, I can never ever safely drink or use again. My first step is not that to drink or to use is to die. That's a part of it. But my first step is that I can never ever safely drink or use again, and I will. I will. A relapse is inevitable, and it is imminent, which means it is coming faster than I think it will. I will relapse. And we have a solution in 12 steps. The solution that we offer is a spiritual awakening, a spiritual experience. That is what we're after. Now, what we do in the rooms of 12 steps, through the 12 steps, is we treat that feeling that we have when we're sober. If you know what I'm talking about, that feeling of I am sober and there's an emptiness and a loneliness deep within my soul. There is an ache that nothing can fill. And just so you know, when we start getting spiritually sick, it doesn't start there. You know where it starts? It starts with everyone is doing it wrong, and they all suck, and they're all idiots, and have you seen them drive? And that's how it starts. But it is that feeling deep within myself that something is wrong. Now, that is not limited to us. Normal, non-addicted, non-alcoholic people have that experience. But that is what we treat. And we treat that with the spiritual awakening. And step 2 is all about asking, could a spiritual awakening be possible? That's it. And if I understand that I am going to relapse, that I am going to, it's not a matter of if, but when I pick up again. That drives me into these 12 steps. And I didn't plan on talking about this, but I want to share about our co-founder, Dr. Bob. And actually, I'm probably not going to find the page quick enough. Yeah, no, I got it. 179. If you got your book with you. So our co-founder. And actually, I am on a tangent. Nadia's like, get to 9. We're going there. But we're going a roundabout way. You guys got roundabouts in South Africa. It's a roundabout way. We're going. 179. So we're talking about Dr. Bob. And the day that we celebrate as the anniversary of Alcoholics Anonymous is June 10th. But his actual more likely sobriety date was June 17th, so tomorrow. So 90 days tomorrow, or 90 years tomorrow. And so what happens on 179 is Dr. Bob meets, and I'm just going to summarize it, but then I'm going to point something out. So on 179, what happens is Dr. Bob meets Bill Wilson, and Bill Wilson is the first person that spoke his language, not from intellect, not from book, but from actual experience. Here is a guy who drank the way that Dr. Bob drank, who knows what it's like to say, I'm never going to do it again, only to do it again. And Dr. Bob was like, I will do absolutely anything that is required to stay sober. Not amends, though. Not that. I'm not going to do that. No, thank you. No, thank you. And so it says, it talks about, so we entered her house at exactly 5 o'clock. It was 11:15 when we left. So that's Dr. Bob and Bill Wilson's first meeting. I had a couple shorter talks with this man afterward and stopped drinking abruptly. So he took some of the actions, not step 9. This dry spell lasted for about 3 weeks. Then I went to Atlantic City to attend several days meeting of a national society of which I was a member. Dr. Ba was a proctologist, a colorectal surgeon. So all I'm saying, if you're here today and you're getting the twisties and the resisties and you're getting, if you got an amends to make and you're like, oh no, I don't need a colonoscopy. I'm getting cleared out with the pre-amends digestive issues. If you have made amends, you know intimately what I'm talking about, those pre-amends digestive issues. You're like, I don't got to see them. But all I'll say is like, hey, when people were new and brand new to this thing and they're like, I hear that there's a solution for alcoholism. I've got to see Dr. Robert Holbrook Smith at the Akron City Hospital. And they would show up and they would go to the lobby and they would see the directory and it would say Dr. Robert Holbrook Smith, colorectal surgeon, maybe floor 5, room 20 or 501 or something like that. And they would think the solution for alcoholism is invasive anal surgery. All I'm saying is that they went in. That's all I'm saying. You know, they were balking at that. So, and what I will point out, and some of you are like, I don't know if it's less invasive making amends. Some of you are like, I don't know. Can I get that option? I'll drink the prune juice. Let me add it, you know. Don't you worry. All right. So I went to Atlantic City to attend a several days meeting of a national society of which I was a member. I drank all the scotch they had on the train and bought several quarts on my way to the hotel. This was on Sunday. I got tight that night, stayed sober Monday till after dinner, then proceeded to get tight again. Anyone relating to drinking like this or using like this? Does it sound familiar? I drank all I dared at the bar, then went to my room to finish the job. Tuesday, I started in the morning, getting well organized by noon. I don't have a drinking problem. I have an organizational problem. I'm getting organized. Woo! So getting well organized by noon. Woohoo! I did not want to disgrace myself, so I then checked out. I bought some more liquor on the way to the depot. I had to wait some time for the train. And then I remember nothing from then on until I woke up at a friend's house. Now I have that written as Lily, who is his office receptionist. So imagine getting plastered, blackout drunk, and showing up at your employee's house. Oopsie doopsies. Oopsie doopsies. Why didn't Dr. Bob want to make amends? Because he didn't want people to know he was an alcoholic. He was afraid that would ruin his reputation. Does that sound familiar? I don't want to do it. I'm afraid it's going to ruin my reputation. Take a couple of drinks. I'll show up at your house. I got no pants. I'm like, what up? You know, not worried about reputation when I'm 3 days into a spree. It says, these good people notified my wife, who sent my newly made friend over to get me. He came and got me home and to bed, gave me a few drinks that night and 1 bottle of beer the next morning. And it says that was June 10th. Now, let's pop over. We're going to go, I believe it's page 150. Yeah, it's 155. Let's see what happened. Because what happened is he balked. He did not want to take the actions of all 12 steps. He did not want to do it. And so what happened is he went on a bender. Now that, you guys relate to that, going on that bender. He is off. So it says bottom of page 155. And this is right where it talks about, man, I will do anything to recover. I will do anything to get well. But not amends. No, thank you, not that. It says, being intrigued, however, he invited a friend to his home. Sometime later, and just as he thought he was getting control of his liquor situation, he went on a roaring bender. For him, this was the spree that ended all sprees. He saw that he would have to face his problems squarely, that God might give him mastery. You see, we are taken out by the actions that we do not take. You know, so many times we say half measures will avail us nothing, but we don't really talk about what that actually means. Nothing less than a spiritual experience that I grow and deepen, nothing less than all 12 steps as a way of life, and I will drink again. Or if you're like me, I'll probably take my life before I drink again. That's what we're talking about. And so he's got to squarely face these problems. We got to squarely look at the things that we don't want to look at, which sucks. I don't want to do that. Like, let's be real. No, gross. No, thank you. One morning. So what happened is he gets up the morning after his bender. They give him a bottle of beer and they give him, like, I believe it's 2 goofballs. So think like benzos to stop his shakes so that he could go and perform surgery. And then he's gone for the rest of the day. So that morning, he took the bull by the horns and set out to tell those he feared what his trouble had been. He found himself surprisingly well received. Now, here's the thing. When we talk about step 9, it says in 9 out of 10 cases, the unexpected happens. Y'all know what's unexpected? That it goes well. That it goes well. I think I'm going to make an amends to, like, my mom, who, like, loves me dearly. And I just think she's going to call in the SWAT team. And I'm going to go to jail. And, like, I didn't even do a crime. Like, that, like, if you guys know the pre-amends, the little, like, circling of the thoughts where it's like, man, I'm going to make amends for not making your bridal shower. And then I'm going to end up in San Quentin. Like, I just blow it out of proportion. I know you guys can't relate to that. But the result is 9 out of 10 times it goes well. In fact, I'll let you know on a little secret. They're likely not going to meet you for the amends. If it wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, if you're reaching out and you're like, I'd like to make an amends, that's where they usually tell you to go F themselves. They usually don't make the point of, like, sitting down or having that video call with you and telling you to go F themselves then, because that's just more work. So if they're willing to meet you, spoilers, 9 out of 10 cases, it'll go well. So he found himself surprisingly well received, right? You can kind of tell who's had experience with amends and who hasn't. Because the people who have are like, man, it'll be okay. And the people who haven't are like, no, it won't. And I get that. I've been there, man. Oh, absolutely. So it says, and learned that many knew of his drinking. What? They knew? Right? I'm as shocked as all of you. I thought I was a little drunk / crackhead behind the dumpster. I thought you couldn't tell when I pissed on your carpet, stole your car, and slept with your husband. I'm just kidding. I would never do any of those things. It was linoleum. I always make that joke. So it says, stepping into his car, he made the rounds of people he had hurt. He trembled as he went about, for this might mean ruin, particularly to a person in his line of business. And so Dr. Bob's sobriety date, the date of his permanent sobriety, came the day after he went out and made all of his amends. So if we're relapsing, if we're struggling, if we are miserable, what is the action that lays before me? Is to do the things that I don't want to do. And then you'll notice he just dove right in. And I'm big on that. Some of y'all know that I'll work with sponsees and we will go on amenders. It's an amender to prevent a bender. And we will go and we will do all those amends. And they are meant to do quickly. To go quickly. We are not meant to sit on it. We are not meant to take our time. We've got to go quickly, go thoroughly. And here's my experience. Because there is nothing worse than an action that I'm not taking. You know, when you go to a meeting and we're talking on step 4 and people are like, oh, step 4, you got to watch out for step 4. No, you don't. The step 4 isn't the scary thing. You know how I know? Because when we're writing on it, it's like, oh, that's actually really helpful. Thank you. It's the sitting on it. It's the sitting on it. And why is the sitting on it painful? It's not painful because of the process. It's painful because that is the nature of the illness. I'm going to relapse. So I've got to do the things that I don't want to do. And we can, and here's the thing, we can do it quickly. We don't need to dip our toe in. We can dive in and we'll find out the water's fine. And so I'm going to bounce. This was not the talk I planned on giving, by the way. If you're wondering, that's not it, but it's the talk I'm giving. We get what we get. And I always say it's okay if you get upset. It's okay if you get upset at the talk that I'm giving. But we got to then write inventory on it. And don't worry, I'll help you. Actually, I got a couple sponsees here that'll help you. They'll help you write the inventory. We got it. All right. So what I'm going to point out is page 77. It says, the very top of page 77, at the moment we are trying to put our lives in order, but this is not an end in itself. Our real purpose is to fit ourselves, to be of maximum service to God and the people around us. Now, I work with sponsees, and sometimes they'll say, I'm willing to make amends because I know it's not about them, it's about me. And I don't say anything because they're willing to make amends. And then I have sponsees that are like, I'm willing to make amends because I know it's not about me, it's about them. And I don't say anything because they're willing to make amends. But why do we make amends? It is a continuation of the commitment that we made in the third step, so that we get to be of use to God and the people about us. And you guys know what it's like if you're in the supermarket and you see somebody you want to amends to, and you're playing like dodge them in the aisles, like, oh, I'm not of maximum service to God if I'm hiding behind mailboxes. We have a whole lot of fewer of those than we used to. But I am not of use to God when I get the twisties and the resisties. That's why we're doing it. But I want to point out, the reason we are doing it is because of the depth of who we are is good and worthy and valuable. And God wants to use us and gets to use us. And I get to clear away the stuff inside of me that's blocking me from God. And you see, the thing is, in the ninth, again, I'm not going where I'm planning on going. In the 9th step promises, it talks about, we're going to be amazed before we're halfway through our amends. Those promises come true when I actively make my amends. And it says, I will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. And that is because I am cleaning it up. And that past, it gets transformed, and I get to see how it can be of benefit to others. I will comprehend the word serenity, and I will know peace. And this is not an intellectual understanding. This is a deep and profound experience. And if you're here today and you're like, I want serenity, I want peace, what do I have to do? Well, it's the thing that I don't think I need to do. It's I go make my amends. And it says, no matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others, because we know what it is like to clean up the worst things that we've ever done. The feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. And if you are here today and uselessness and self-pity is on you, it has you, and you can't get free of it, let's go make amends. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. It's like, why would I want that? What about me, right? But the truth is, man, when I am focused on what I can give, the world I live in is one of abundance. Self-seeking will slip away. That's wonderful, because it does not work. If you're living in self-seeking, I'm trying to get from you, I'm trying to get from success, I'm trying to get from money, I'm trying to get from all these false gods, and none of it is enough, and it falls away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. You know what was my attitude and my outlook upon life? I can't be here. I can't do it. It's too much. That was my outlook on life. It was too much for me and I couldn't be here. And that changes. And now I get to be a part of this thing. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. Not people and economic insecurity will leave us. That's not what's happening. But the fear of, I get to be a part of the world. And of course, as I make financial amends, I get to see that it is not my money. It's their money. They want it back. But deeper than that, it is God's money. And when I see that the money that I have is not my money, it is God's money, that changes my whole relationship with finances. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. If you're here today and you're like, I don't know how to communicate, I don't know how to set boundaries, the 9th step tells me how to be rigorously honest and communicate with others. Man, I was going to talk about how to functionally do the 9th step, and I'm like, look, I got 24 minutes. Yikes, this is not the talk I planned on giving. We'll intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. And actually, I'm going to tie that in. Hold on, I'm going to go like a minute or two over. Here's the thing. In the 9th step, what do I want to do? I want to start with an approach. I want to reach out to the person or the institution with whom I caused harm. And I want to ask them if they would be willing to meet with me for an amends. I'm not big on it has to be eyeball to eyeball. We're in the virtual world. It's whatever would be best for them. That's what I learned. I can ask for their consent. And I learned that through experience. And then what do I want to do when I sit down with them for the amends? I want to explain what I did, being specific when applicable, focusing on my character defects. When I stole your car, that was selfish and dishonest, and I betrayed your trust. When I slept with your husband, that's a heavy one. Again, that was dishonest. I crossed a line and a boundary that I should not have crossed. It was incredibly selfish and inconsiderate. Now, we're assuming they know. And then when I peed on your carpet, listen, I'm an alcoholic, and in order for me to stay sober, I need to be working a program of action on a rigorous daily basis, and I was not doing that. As a result of my own complacency, that led me to drink again. And as a result, I peed on your carpet. And when I absolutely hid from it, when I tried to put the cat on top of it so nobody would notice, again, that was dishonest. Okay, maybe you guys drink how I drink. You know what's up. It was the cat. Bad cat. Boo. It wasn't me. Right? So that was dishonest. And so I want to focus on that. And here's the thing, if I'm fearless and thorough in my 4th step, I can take my 4th column, not all of it, but almost all of my 4th column in resentments and put it right into the amends. If it is a relationship, I can take the 2nd and 3rd column of sex inventory and put almost all of it right into the amends. If I'm thorough in this thing, the work gets done in the process and it becomes easier. And then I always want to ask, it was not my intention to leave anything out, but is there any other way in which I harmed you or anything that you need to share with me? And I want to give them the opportunity to share. And then I ask, what can I do to make it right? And then I do that. And when I do that, the amend is made. And that is how we live our life, that 4 through 9 process. And as a result, we will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could never do by ourselves. The freedom that we get, the results that we get, regardless of how the amends go. Man, the other side, everything I want in life is on the other side of these actions that I do not want to take. But what I need to realize is that I can take these actions quickly. We will help you take the actions. You are not alone. And that I promise the life after is one that is beyond my wildest dreams. And it is available to each and every one of us. So please let us help you. Thank you.